Hey book nerds, it's Sarah. Welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be a little different. I'm going to be doing a tag in today's video. I feel like in 2022, tags on BookTube are making a comeback. They were very, very popular when I first started my channel in like 2014 to like 2016, and I've been seeing them more and more pop up on my feed on YouTube. So I thought it would be fun to just have a very chill video on my channel where I answer some questions. And yeah, so the tag that I'm going to be doing today is the rapid fire book tag, I think it's called. 50 rapid fire book questions tag. So I have my iced coffee, I have the questions on my phone, and we're going to chat together. So I thought that would be really fun. I hope that you guys enjoy this video, and without further ado, let's get into the questions. Question number one, hardback or paperback? This is a very hard question for me to answer because obviously I really love the look of hardbacks on my shelf, but there is something just so satisfying about like a floppy paperback that's just so fun to read. So I don't know what to answer for this question. I'm going to say both. Can I do that? Question number two is dust jacket off or on? Definitely off. When I read a book, I don't want to damage the dust jacket, so if I read a hardback, I take it off. Question number three is secondhand copies or new copies? So this question is a little complicated for me to answer because where I live, secondhand bookshops mostly hold books that are in French. So there's one secondhand bookshop that I go to that have a few English selections, but not many, and definitely not new-ish releases. So for this question, I'm going to have to say new copies, but I do really like the appeal of going to a secondhand bookshop. If there were more where I live, I definitely would go. Question number four, audiobooks or nah? Definitely yes. I love listening to audiobooks. They allow me to get so much more reading done while I'm doing house chores like folding the laundry, cleaning my room, doing the dishes, etc. I really love audiobooks. At first, I didn't really like them. I disliked them. I started listening to audiobooks in 2019 and I have never looked back since. Question number five is do you cover buy? Definitely. When I go to the bookstore, I look up titles that I have heard of, that I know of, and I also take some time to just browse the shelves and look at the covers, and if I feel that there's a book that the cover kind of compels me towards it, I'm definitely going to pick up the book, read the synopsis, and then see if you know, the book interests me or not. But yes, it definitely has happened in the past where I have bought books because of their covers. Question number six, what's a good book with a bad cover? This is a very good question. I feel like some of the older books that I enjoyed, such as like the Vampire Academy series by Rochelle Mead, fantastic books, terrible covers. They look very, very smutty and romance, and they're just like very cheesy. I feel like books published before 2010 or between like 2005 to 2012 have some of the worst covers, and honestly Vampire Academy is something that comes to mind like right off the bat. I feel like a lot more people should read those books because they are fantastic, but I know the covers can be off-putting, but if you guys are like considering reading them, just please give them a chance. They're some of my favorite books ever. Question number seven is what's a bad book with a good cover? This is a very hard question for me to answer because I don't feel like I have hated books before. Like I have mildly disliked some, but not like outright hated. So I'm currently looking all around my shelves to see if there's like a book that I could mention for this question. I guess I'm going to have to say Wilder Girls. Very unpopular opinion, but that book didn't do much for me. I preferred the other book that this author published, which is Burn Our Bodies Down, but Wilder Girls, the cover is fantastic. Didn't really like it much. Like I said, I don't outright hate it. Like I don't think I have ever outright hated a book. I'm trying to think if I've ever given like a book 1 star or 2 stars. I think like if I dislike a book or if I'm not particularly fond of a book, I give it like 3 stars. I don't think I've ever given a book lower than 3 stars now that I think about it. But yeah, I'm gonna have to go with Wilder Girls for this question. Question number 8 is the first book you ever read, and that is City of Bones by Cassandra Clare. I read it, I think, in 2012 when I was in high school, and changed my life, got me into reading, and it's why it's one of my favorite series of all time. Question number 9 is last book you finished, and that book is My Dear is Darkest by Kayla Cottingham. Fantastic book, I highly recommend it. Question number 10 is the last series you finished. Oh, this is a good question. I think the last series I finished was the A Good Girl's Guide to Murder trilogy by Holly Jackson. Because I read a lot of standalones, like I read a lot of mysteries and thrillers, so those are usually standalones. But in the spring, I binge read a lot of YA mystery trilogies, such as like the Truly Devious books by Maureen Johnson. So yeah, I think the most recent series that I finished was the A Good Girl's Guide to Murder trilogy. Question number 11 is the last book you bought, and the last book that I bought is this one, The Murder of Mr. Wickham by Claudia Gray. I bought this on Monday, so 2 days ago, and I'm very excited to read it. It's one of my most anticipated releases of the year. I finally picked it up and I'm very excited to read it. Question number 12, what's your favorite genre? Definitely mystery thriller. Definitely mystery thriller. Question number 13, what's your favorite book in that genre? So I have a few that I could mention for this question. The Turn of the Key by Ruth Ware, fantastic. The Children on the Hill by Jennifer McMahon, fantastic. I also really liked The Seven Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle by Stuart Turton, phenomenal. Also, In My Dreams I Hold a Knife. I can't remember the author's name. Those are just a few of my favorite ones of all time. Question number 14, what genre do you never reach for? Romance. Definitely romance. I feel like I prefer to read books that grip me, that are thrilling, and I'm okay with some romance. Like I read fantasy that have like romantic plot elements in them, but like strictly romance, I don't think that's something that really interests me, so I never really reach for that genre. Question 15, do you read poetry? No, but I wish I did. I haven't really looked into poetry authors. That might be something for me to do for like 2023, I guess. Do you read popular science? No, I do not. I am a person about facts, about the truth, and I feel like anything that's like popular, like popular psychology and all of that, I just feel like they twist the truth and they twist the facts too much. Question 17, do you read middle grade? I have in the past. I haven't read middle grade in quite a while, but I really do enjoy the genre. I feel like when I pick up a middle grade, it's a fast-paced read, it's fun, it's meant to be lighthearted, and sometimes when I'm in a reading slump or I feel like I just need something that goes by a little faster, that's a little bit more lighter, I tend to reach for middle grade. Question 18 is, do you have book box subscriptions? Unfortunately, no. I have always wanted to subscribe to book boxes such as like Illumicrate, Owlcrate, Fairy Loot, etc., etc. But the shipping fees to Canada are so expensive. It's like twice the price of the box, and that's just too expensive for me, unfortunately. Question 19, what's your favorite bookish item? I don't really know if you can call it bookish, but it's this signed copy of the pilot episode for the Shadowhunters TV show. It has the signatures on it for all of the actors. So see, you have like Matt Daddario, Dominic Sherwood, Emerald Tubia, and I think that's Kat McNamara, or no, I think that one's Kat. Anyways, so this is probably my most cherished piece of like bookish fan memorabilia, I guess. Question number 20 is, what's your current bookmark? And this is my current bookmark. So it's a Verity bookmark by Book Owl Designs. Verity is one of my all-time favorite Colleen Hoover books, and I really like this design. It's really stunning. I really like these bookmarks from this shop. I have quite a few of them actually because they're really good quality. They're like very thick cardstock. They're a little bendy, but they're not like super fragile, and the designs are just gorgeous. So I have quite a few of these, but this is my current one. Question 21 is, what's the strangest object you used as a bookmark? And I think it's probably another book. I'm trying to think if there's like something else that's weird that I've used as a bookmark before. But yeah, I definitely think the weirdest is using another book as a bookmark. Question 22, book jackets or nah? By book jackets, I think they mean like book sleeves, like things to hold and protect your books in. I like the idea. I don't own any. I probably should, but I definitely do like the idea of like having your book in a sleeve to protect it when you're out of the house. Question 23, who's your fictional boyfriend? I have a few. I actually did a video on this in the past, but like that's a very old video and I'm not even sure if it's still public anymore. I might have like privated it. But I'm gonna try and see if there's like a more recent one that I can mention to you guys. If I had to name one, I think it would be Thomas Cresswell from the Stalking Jack the Ripper series by Carrie Maniscalco. I read that series I think 2 years ago and I really love the character of Thomas Cresswell, so I think I'm gonna go with him. Question 24, favorite book couple. These questions are supposed to be rapid fire, but I honestly am blanking because I read so many standalones and I don't necessarily read that many more series anymore. So like things like couples and favorite book boyfriends and stuff, I'm just like, I'm scratching my head trying to think of one. So for favorite book couple, it's an old one, but I'm gonna say Annabeth and Percy from the Percy Jackson and the Olympians and the Heroes of Olympus series. I just feel like their dynamic is so fun. It's full of sarcasm and it's just a fun time, so I'm going to go with those two. Question 25 is favorite book villain, and one that I have read recently is the villain from Sorcery of Thorns. I'm totally blanking on the villain's name, but I read this book at the beginning of the year and I very much enjoyed it, so I'm going to go with that. Question 27, series, trilogies, or standalones. I prefer standalones at the moment. Like I said, my favorite genre is mystery thriller, and usually those books are standalones, but I do still like the occasional series, and I also like trilogies. I feel I like them more than I do series just because like the commitment is smaller. Question 28, mixed media books or paragraphs. I like both. I feel like mixed media is very interesting. It kind of changes up the reading experience a little bit. And I mean, obviously paragraphs are things that we're all used to as readers, so I like both. Question 29 is what's your favorite book adaptation, and that is definitely the Shadowhunters TV show. I feel like it's one of the most accurate adaptations that I've seen. Obviously they did change things in order to keep it like more current because the Mortal Instruments series was written quite a long time ago, but I feel like it's one of the more accurate adaptations that I've seen. Definitely more accurate than the movie that came out in 2013. Otherwise, one of the classics is the Hunger Games movies. They are some of the best adaptations that I have seen ever. So those are my two answers. Question 30 is film adaptations or TV adaptations, and I'm going to say TV adaptations. I feel like producers have a lot more room to work with the book's content, like the original content that they're basing the adaptation on, because a movie you're limited to like an hour and a half, maximum 2 hours, so you can't necessarily fit everything in there. But with a TV show, depending on like if it runs for however many seasons, you have a lot more room to explore the book's content and adapt it to the TV show. So I'm going to go with TV show. Question 31 is what book needs an adaptation, and I'm going to say The Seven Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle. I feel like that would be such a good like suspense mystery series. I feel like that would be such a fun thing to watch. Yeah, I'm gonna go with that. Question 32, favorite book world. Yeah, exactly. Question 33, favorite writing style. I feel like for thrillers, I'm going to say something that's like gripping, ominous, a little bit of foreshadowing also maybe, or like symbolism. I feel like I always like that in thrillers, and definitely a twist that's not too predictable. Something that like gives us a little bit of hints but not too much. So that would be my answer for thrillers. And for any other books, I feel like either it's like fantasy or contemporary or sci-fi, doesn't matter the genre. I feel like writing with a touch of humor, like with a touch of comedy in it, always gets me. Maybe a little less when I'm reading like mysteries and thrillers, but I do like chuckling and laughing when I'm reading a book. One of my favorite examples of this is literally anything Rick Riordan writes. He has such a funny writing style. His characters are sarcastic. It's just such a fun time, and it makes reading those books a lot more fun. So that's going to be my answer for like pretty much anything else. Question 34 is, what's a book that you love that people don't know about? This one's hard because I feel like all of the books that I really enjoy are books that are popular in like the mystery thriller scene. But I think I'm going to go with My Dearest Darkest once again, because when I picked this book up last month, I actually hadn't heard much about it anywhere, either on Goodreads or on YouTube or on Instagram. Like, I haven't really seen that book pop up anywhere. So I'm going to once again recommend it to you, and I'm going to use that book for my answer for this question. Question 35, what's a popular book that you hated? I don't know why I had to think about this, but it's definitely the Caraval trilogy. I'm sorry. It was fine. Like, it wasn't anything special. The characters were annoying to me. The pacing was weird, and yeah, I just ended up giving that whole entire trilogy 3 stars, so it wasn't really for me. Question 36 is your favorite childhood reads. Oh, I'm trying to remember the name of these books, but it was kind of like a companion series. I think the title was If You Give a Mouse a Cookie? And then there was like, If You Give a Moose a Muffin, If You Give a Pig a Pancake. And I think there was like another one. Those books were so fun. Does anyone else remember those, or is that like a fever dream from my childhood? Question 37, what's a book that changed your life? I'm really boring. I'm coming back to this series a lot. But I mean, it's true. It's the first ever series that I read when I was a very young teenager, early on in high school. It made me love reading YA, and it's led me to where I am today, reading so many different things, posting about it on YouTube, and literally owning like hundreds and hundreds of books. So if I had never read the Mortal Instruments series, which by the way was recommended to me by my mother, like I'm remembering that now, but yeah, if I never read this, like none of this would have happened. And I'm very grateful to Cassandra Clare, to the Shadow World, and to the characters from these books. I just love them so much, and I wouldn't be where I am today if I had never read them. What book did you hate at school? Literally any textbook. I feel like when you're a student who loves to read, during the school year you have like literally no inclination to pick up a book for fun because you're like neck deep in like textbooks and like assigned readings and stuff, and I feel like that takes the fun out of reading. So like any textbook, or if it had to be like a literal novel, I'm going to say The Giver by Lois Lowry. Read it, didn't really understand it, didn't really appreciate it. I mean, maybe if I read it now as like an adult, 10 years later, maybe it would be a different story, but back then I didn't really enjoy that book that much. Question 39, do you buy to collect? Obviously that's a yes. I love displaying the books that I buy on my shelves. Question 40, do you donate books? Yes, I do. Very rarely I unhaul books, but when I do, there's a secondhand bookshop, the one that I mentioned earlier, that I go to sometimes. I bring the books there so they can get a second home, and I think it's fun, you know, to give books a second chance for someone else to love them as well, or a chance for someone else to love them when I didn't love them as much as I thought I would, I should say. Question 41, what's your favorite reading snack? I don't snack often when I read, but when I do, I like eating candy. I love eating lollipops. I love eating chocolate. I have a very big sweet tooth, but sometimes I eat crackers as well. Just something that's like small and like easy to handle that won't dirty my book or like the surface where I am currently reading that book on. So when I do eat when I'm reading, I eat those things, but more often than not, I just have an iced coffee when I read. Question 42, what's your favorite reading position? I like to read propped up in bed with like a bunch of pillows in my back and just surrounded by comfy blankets. I feel like that's the most comfortable for me, and it allows me to sit in one place for a long time in order to read. Question 43 is natural light or lamplight? I guess both. I read more often than not at night, so in that context it would be lamplight. But if I'm reading during the day, I love to read outside if it's nice, so for that it would be natural light. Question 44, outside or inside? Depends on the weather. Like, for example, today it's so sunny outside, but it's very, very humid. So I would have fun reading outside, but not for a long time. I'd be out there for maybe like a half hour, an hour max before I'd have to come back inside. So generally, I like to say that I prefer to read inside. But in the summer when it's nice and not too hot out, I do enjoy to read outside. Question 45, breaking the cover or keeping it smooth? Keeping it smooth. I'm very big about keeping my books in the condition they were in when I bought them. All of my books look like new. I don't break the spine. I don't bend the cover. I take off the dust jackets when I read the books. I just want them to look as new as they did when I bought them for when I display them on my shelves. Question 46, do you read in other languages? I read in French for school. But for like pleasure reading, like reading the books that I have on my shelves, that's just in English. Question 47, what book series do you want to finish this year? I am actually rereading The Mortal Instruments because I haven't read them since I initially read them in like 2012 to 2014 when the last books were coming out. I have reread The Infernal Devices quite a few times, but never The Mortal Instruments. So I started my reread of the series at the beginning of the year. I am on book 4, so I have the last 3 to go, and I think I want to try and finish my reread of that before the end of the year. Question 48 is, what book release are you most excited about right now? And there's a new Karen McManus book coming out at the end of August. I was very surprised when I learned of it because usually she publishes her books closer to the end of the year, like in November or December. So I'm excited to pick that one up and read it. I really love Karen McManus's books. Question 49 is, do you have a favorite book influencer? So I'm going to quickly mention some favorite booktubers that I like. I really like Mel Reads, Books and Lala, Olivia Reads a Latte, Gabby Reads, and Jessie the Reader. Those are like a couple that I can think of off the top of my head. And as for Instagram, I'm going to go with Crime by the Book. She has recommended some books to like her followers that I have ended up reading and absolutely loved. So for anything that's like mystery thriller related, I definitely see her as like a go-to reference. Question 50, do you have a channel, blog, or social media feed? I have this booktube channel. I did have a bookstagram, or I actually do still have the bookstagram, but I haven't posted in like 3 years, 2 years. So I have kind of like abandoned that. I might pick it back up. If I do, I'll let you guys know in like a vlog or something. But for right now, I just have this channel, which I am putting all of my energy into right now. I'm a little winded, but there you go. That was the 50 rapid fire book questions. I really hope that you guys enjoyed it and that you had fun learning a little bit more about like my book preferences and just about me in general. I'm going to leave all 50 questions in the description below, so if you would like, you can take the questions and either answer them all or answer a few of them in the comments down below so I can learn a little bit more about you guys. I had so much fun filming this tag. I feel like it's bringing me back to like the beginning of booktube, like I was mentioning earlier. So that was really fun, and I really hope that you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys did, let me know by giving the video a big thumbs up. Also, don't forget to click the subscribe button down below so you never miss a future upload of mine. Once again, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'm going to see you all in my next video. Bye, book nerds!